come once again to discuss things.
I really don't like. I wish there was a way to Yes, I can. And on that note, hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen, for realsies this time. I am Sid Part 2. Joining me today is Connor Nielsen and Rasco of Rasco's Modern Life. Hello, gentlemen.
Hi.
I love that you get a second chance at it and you still step on each other.
It's great.
It's impressive. The level of just boom, sync. Everyone knows exactly when they want to talk and all this stuff.
Well, you said
great.
my name first, so I just assumed I'd say hi first. It'd be like a respective thing.
And I'm just rude and don't care about others, so I just thought I'd go ahead and get it out there.
Indeed. Rasco picked our movie this week. Rasco, what are we reviewing this time around?
Inherent Vice.
Okay. I have a bold prediction for this episode of Geeky Gentlemen.
Oh,
Right.
This is my hot take. Everyone write it down.
I'm sure it's never happened before either.
Yeah, this is going to be an episode where I think that we're reviewing something that's really bad, and these two sit here the entire time and talk about how it's a brilliant fucking film.
Nope.
Nope?
Nope.
Holy shit! What?
I have
Please, Connor.
decidedly mixed feelings on Paul Thomas Anderson's adaptation of the Thomas Pynchon novel. This movie was released in limited release in 2014, got a wider release in 2015. I remember seeing this in the theaters and being somewhat cold, but mostly tired after watching it. And I woke up today at about 11:30 a.m., and later than I wanted to sleep in. And so I've been mostly awake for this whole day. And like I've been like really like on, like I'm awake, and then I watched this movie, and I don't know, man. I've never been high in my life, so I don't know what it's like to be high. But if I ever get high, I imagine I just want to sleep, because I guess this is what it feels like to be high while watching this movie. So there we go.
Well, my bold take is right out the window.
Yeah, get out of here, Ian.
Yeah. Rasco, what was your general opinion on this film?
Okay, so I've seen the first half of this movie like 10 times in the past year. And I always have this thing where I always put this movie on. I'm always like, you know what? I'm really in the mood to really focus on a movie. And this is just like a movie I'm always like, yeah, I'm going to watch Inherent Vice. I put it on. And I always start watching it. And then I quickly realize that it's impossible for me to watch this movie and not feel like this movie is trying to manipulate me into forgetting what it is I'm looking at every scene. I honestly have no idea how good I think this movie is. But there's so many things about this movie that I love when I'm watching it. I have no idea though what I'm watching, and that doesn't bother me, but I don't really think this is a really great movie necessarily, but I really like watching it, and there's so many scenes that I really like to just watch over and over again for some reason. And I don't know, this is a really weird movie. I have a really weird relationship with this movie. I love Joaquin Phoenix. I think he's pretty good in this movie. This movie, I don't know. It's just, I feel like I'm probably in the group of people that this would appeal to the most. I don't know. I really like drug movies. I love drug movies.
And I don't know if I'd even consider this a drug movie. Drugs
it's not,
are
but it's
involved in the plot, but it's not like the plot is about drugs.
But I feel like the story is told through the lens of a high. It's told through the lens of a guy who's been stoned for 30 days, and he can't tell if he's at the ending of his first high, or he can't tell if he's coming down from a high or coming up from one. That, it's just to me, the story kind of just feels like what would happen if you were incredibly stoned and tried to recall what happened over the past few days and tried to explain that to someone. This is what you would explain to them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll say this much about Inherent Vice. I think that I respect it, that it is somebody's vision. I mean, it's based off of a novel, and it's apparently a very accurate adaptation of a novel. I feel like this would work better as like a television show. I feel like I watched an 8 episode season of television crammed into 2.5 hours, where
Oh my god, you have no idea.
so
Oh, this took forever to get through.
yeah. Well, the thing is, like, I do think it's sensory overload, but I also feel like that's kind of the point. I kind of on paper, this is a kind of a thing I like, where I've always wanted like a detective story where he's taking 3 or 4 cases and they don't all tie together. I always want to see something like that, but in every screenplay that's about a detective, he'll take like 3 or 4 cases and they're all about the same thing in the end. And I don't like. I mean, I like it. You can.
No, that's exactly what this was.
I know, and that's the thing.
All
That's
the
what I'm saying,
cases
is
ran back to the same thing.
That's exactly what I'm saying, though. Is for a while it paints the illusion like they're all disparate cases, and then they all sort of come back together. So it's like for a while it has me going, and I like the atmosphere. I love the way this movie looks. There's a lot of very long takes. I think it's gotten really good performances, specifically from Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro. I think that what?
No. Josh Brolin is hilariously awful in this movie.
He's hilarious. Period. So the thing is, I think that the set design and costume design, I feel like I'm in 1970, and I get what they're going for. I just think that if this movie was slower, I would like it more, where you just kind of hang out in a moment for longer. It's a lot of people. Like, there's a lot of scenes of people talking in hushed tones very fast, going through a lot of information, using a lot of anecdotes, a lot of backstory, and it all feels like it's meant to throw you off, and I think that's the point of it, and I can respect what it's doing. It just doesn't really appeal to me. So,
okay, here's what I'm going to say. If you wanted a movie that's from the perspective of a druggie, and you wanted something that's like hard to tell exactly what's going on, but there's like some kind of underlying mystery, there's some kind of terror, some kind of like encroaching threat, and it's all connected to someone who is just tripping balls the whole time, I have a great movie in mind for you that will save you from the 2.5 hours of this. And it is called Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Which also has Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, everything that is good about this movie is in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, with literally none of the bad. Not even a shred of the bad. This movie was just a nightmare, man. Okay, I will fully admit this. I fucking am so glad I did not pay a cent to watch this movie. I watched this through the Fire Stick streaming, and I kind of paid for that because the last fucking 10 minutes of this movie took me about 30 to 40 minutes to watch. Because, like, I had to pause and go to the bathroom when there were only 10 minutes left. I got back from the bathroom, and it had crashed. So I had to reload the stream. Trying to reload the stream, nothing would come up. So I had to clear the cache. Cleared the cache, tried to reload the stream. Stuff started to come up, but I had to fast forward back to the end. Every time I tried to fast forward back to the end, it would crash. So, like, for the last fucking half hour of my experience watching this movie, I was just like, fucking make it stop. Dude, I was so close to giving up. You want to know how close I was to the end? I was at the scene where Josh Brolin kicked in the fucking door. And I had to spend half an hour watching that shit. There were some kids outside on a playground, and it was like a little girl just screaming her head off, and I was just like, me too right now. This movie was fucking painful to get through to me. Like, you know, you guys are talking about the whole the drug attachment thing, and yeah, I agree that this is trying at points to put you in the mind of someone who is high, and doesn't quite know, like, what it's like to be sober anymore. This, though, just, this explains to me why I never want to get high. I just don't see the appeal to this kind of disorientation, this kind of utter madness, and just bugs the crap out of me.
People describe the author, all of his books, as like hippie books. They like, I always hear they call them like meandery hippie books, and it's kind of weird. I feel like this is like one of those. I always feel this way when I watch this movie. Getting through like the opening scenes, I feel like the movie's almost like testing you, trying to get you to stop watching it.
Dude, I made it 10 minutes in, and I was like, oh god, it's only 10 minutes.
Yeah, like, I feel like, and like, that's the thing, like, again, I have this like weird thing in this movie where, like, I've watched the opening scene, like, of the times where I've watched like half the movie and then stopped, I've watched like the opening scene way more. For some reason, the opening scene, there's something about this movie where I feel like there's this like hidden level of fucking with you as an audience member, where I really feel like this is a movie where if you don't want to care about it, the movie will do nothing to make you care about it. You have to like actively choose to care about this movie. And that's what's really weird about it to me, is it is so easy to completely let this movie just put up a wall between the two of you and for you to just like completely dip out.
Yep.
I definitely like this movie more than both of you guys, though. But yeah, I honestly have like almost zero capacity to talk about it on like a quality level.
Well, that should make this a really interesting review,
yeah.
Huh? No, I totally agree. It's like it clearly is just wanting to do its own thing, and you know, God bless it. Good for it. Just God, I wish I didn't have to watch it though. Like, I can honestly tell you, if I wasn't doing this review, I would have stopped watching it about 10 to 15 minutes in. And the only reason I kept trying to get back to finish that last 10 minutes was to just get through it for the review. And I mean, ultimately, I'm glad I watched those last 10 minutes, because seeing the what the fuck moment of Josh Brolin eating all the pot... What even is that scene?
I don't know. It's hilarious.
Like, it's shit like that where I'm like, is this a comedy? What is this movie? Like, okay. There's a scene where Joaquin Phoenix shows up at the rehab clinic, and Owen Wilson is there in the circle with the Nazi and the other people in rehab. And he just looks up and sees this guy, and he mouths the words, "What the fuck?" And I've actually found a GIF of that moment, because it perfectly describes my entire feelings on this entire movie.
Is that going to be like the thumbnail for this video?
It could very well. Like, you know, okay, this is going to be really hilarious, but like, you know, porn sites have figured out how to make it so when you hover over their thumbnails, it shows you, like, little images from throughout the video. Yeah. Why can't YouTube accept GIFs as thumbnails at this point in time? It is time. It's time. Because I would love for that to be the thumbnail for this video. Geeky gentlemen, what?
I'm with GIFs. It's time. It's about time.
Oh, man. It's so hard to watch this movie, and it feels like it is daring you to leave the theater. It is like watching Joaquin Phoenix burn your $10 of movie tickets. My God, this was so hard to watch. You know, there are movies that I really absolutely hate. Come and See is, to my money, the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life, because it actively makes you go, maybe the Nazis had a point, while somehow trying not to make you think that. But this is up there as far as just something that is just painful to watch, and it's about, relatively speaking, such benign subject matter. My God, I've watched Faces of Death videos that were easier to sit through than this. Ugh.
Okay, I got a question, Ian. How much of it just boils down to personal taste, do you think?
I mean, maybe, but at the same time, if you two that are the whole film Buffy guys can't say it's a good movie, how good a movie could it possibly be? Well, no, that's the thing, though,
because, I mean, okay, wow. The thing is, there's a lot of people who love this movie. There's a lot of people who love this movie. This to me is very similar, to me anyways, to Nocturnal Animals, the Tom Ford movie from last year, where it has a thematic undercurrent, it's saying something, and I think this is a much better crafted movie than Nocturnal Animals, but I just don't think it's great, and it seems everyone... Oh my God, Frank, shut up. Anyways, there's like a certain school of film audience that just thinks this movie is a masterpiece and one of the greatest films of this decade so far, and I just don't get it. And same thing with Nocturnal Animals, where people are calling that a masterpiece and like a 10 out of 10 movie, and it's like, it's fine. And so there's a part of me that until today, this is the first time I've ever rewatched it. I only watched it one time in the theater back in 2014. January of 2015. And I knew there was a lot of people putting this in their top 10 movies of 2014. I was like, wow, it must be really good. And I went to go see it, and it was fine. And since then, I've kind of had this antagonistic relationship towards Inherent Vice, where every time it's brought up, I'm the dissenting opinion. And then I rewatched it, and it's sort of like Birdman for me, where it's like, well, I watch it, it's like, oh, it's not that bad. It's fine. But everybody talks it up and talks about it like it's this great film, and I just don't think it's great. I think it's a greatly crafted movie. I love the long takes. I like the shots. Yeah, the long takes. The acting is like it observes people acting. The sound design is great. The soundtrack is really good. And it's all about capturing a moment. And to varying degrees, I do feel like it is capturing a moment. But I feel like this same material was in the hands of Richard Linklater, I would love this movie.
I think, to me, this movie, one thing I really do like about it is I get this vibe, and I like this about a lot of different stories that can fall into like a bunch of different genres, but I really like the story that's kind of taking place during a time when like there's a culture is the culture is kind of dying and changing. This is kind of a movie that's taking place as like hippies. The culture's changing. Like, this is like the death of kind of like the hippie era.
Yeah, that's definitely there with all the references to Manson.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of an interesting parallel to bring up with all the hippiness and the deaths of Manson. Oddly enough that it's come up, but from what I understand, Tarantino's making a film about the Manson family, so there will be a good film about the death of the hippie movement. Left-wing movements in the United States are always so bizarre to me. They funnel a lot of great energy, like outrage at the system, into some really stupid things, like the hippie movement. But regardless of all that, yeah, it's definitely here, the downfall of the hippie movement. I mean, it's kind of telling that we're following an old hippie.
Yeah.
Because like that's what happened to these guys. Like, there were the guys that moved out to California to wear a flower in their hair in their 20s, like late 20s, and then they got old, and it just like the world didn't know what to do with them anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like this guy and Leo from that 70s show, where it's just like this drugged out old hippie that like doesn't really have much of a place in society.
And I think a lot of that can be seen through the Shasta character, who I think is the worst character. I think Shasta's a legitimate problem with this movie. but her character, like she's like said, "Oh, you'll never see me dressed this certain way," and then in the first scene, she is dressed that way, where she's not really a flower child anymore. She's more disco. She's kind of embracing more of the oncoming 70s, and the whole idea of Doc representing the hippie movement of the 60s and the way the world's changing, and it is kind of about capturing that transition. And to that degree, I think this movie is solid, but it's just I don't really see anything more to it than exploring that, and I think that's fine if it gets to somebody on a certain level. I think that's good for them, but for me, it's just sort of like, yeah, I get it. I don't need to see that for 2.5 hours. I get it.
It is entirely too long. There's no way you can tell me that every scene in this movie is necessary.
Well, that's the thing. I would agree it's too long. I think that the idea is the point is to be excessive in. I think that's the point, and I like long, boring movies that a lot of people would consider long and boring. But
No, you just like long, boring. Connor, I have a great film that you should add to your watch list.
What's that?
It's called Paint Drying. And it's got a really interesting social. No, I'm dead serious. It's got a really interesting social history. You see, the equivalent of the Motion Picture Broadcasting Association. The Film Rating Association. Yeah, MPAA here in the States. They have that over in Britain, but it's actually a government-run board, and you have to pay a fee to get your movie viewed by them before your movie can be released in theaters, and before it can get a rating. So you have to pay a fee of about $5,000 per hour. So this guy did a fundraising campaign on Kickstarter and Indiegogo, one of those things, to get his film entered into that process. And the funny thing is, once you pay, they are legally required to watch every second of your film. And so he got enough money together to submit a 4.5-hour movie of paint drying. So there's this really interesting social commentary for it. So I feel like you owe it to the filmmaking community to sit there and watch that whole movie.
Right. Okay.
Maybe do a commentary.
Maybe not.
Everyone in the comments, pressure Connor Nielsen to do a commentary on the film Paint Drying.
You should like drop acid before you do it.
Oh my god. I have no idea where I'm even at right now, but someone take us someplace.
I get this thing where there's certain movies that I watch where they really seem to just really sit and just bask in the moment. And sometimes I have to sometimes that will really appeal to me personally. And I have to think do I think that this is good or bad? And then does it appeal to me personally or not? So an example, I think that Blade Runner really is not self-indulgent, but Blade Runner really will just sit there for a moment and really just have its way with how long it wants to take to tell its story. And I really like that. And I don't think it's a problem at all in Blade Runner. I think it's good. It's a definitively good part of that movie is its pacing, right? Something like this, though, I don't know, because I think that it is trying to appeal to such a small demographic of people that will give this the time of day. There are so many people that I know, not that I know a whole list of these kind of people, but I could probably find some people that if I told them to go watch a movie about a hippie stoner who's just constantly getting high, they wouldn't want to watch that. The same way that you could tell somebody what the plot of Dazed and Confused is, and they wouldn't want to watch it. But I think that this is maybe a little bit different in that it's so narrow, and it really likes to take its time. And maybe that's not a good thing in regards to this movie. That being said, I wouldn't like it if it wasn't that way. And so again, I can't really there's so few people that I could possibly recommend this movie to, but there are definitely people that I could recommend this movie to.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say that there comes a certain point. Like, I don't think that Paul Thomas Anderson makes movies for people. He just makes movies for himself. Like, he wants to make a movie as a piece of art and a piece of expression, so he puts it out there. That's the idea, I think. And so I don't really see this as like it's one of those, it doesn't care if you're watching it. Well, okay, it kind of does, but the people making it don't care if you watch it or not. It's like, if you want to watch it, here it is. And it's kind of playing on conventions of film noir, but putting it in a hippie center and kind of making it about a certain moment in time. That's kind of the point of the movie. But if you're going to go in there like saying, okay, it needs to be it needs to be accessible, it needs to be efficient, and then you're kind of like not taking it on its own terms.
Well, it's weird because doing the whole California, LA setting, it feels like it's trying to be Chinatown. And it's not. And that just makes it really weird. Chinatown is one of Steve's favorite movies, and I'm really jealous that he didn't have to sit through this. Because I feel like he would have hated this too. I don't know. I don't know what I have to say about this. Let's try to be positive for a few minutes here. One shot that I really liked, because I thought it was a really cool, dynamic shot, kind of a Bayham kind of shot, in all honesty, was the scene where you see the boat being dragged into harbor. You see the Golden Fang being dragged into harbor. And so you got, like, Joaquin Phoenix and Benicio del Toro walking along the shoreline, weaving in and out behind these palm trees. And then you've got the boats out on the waterfront, moving towards land, and they're trying to keep pace with them, and so the cameras all move, everything's just moving and going past the camera at the same time. I thought that was a really, really cool shot. God, it was in a really boring movie.
One thing I like about this movie, I think the cinematography is really good all around. I think the color correction is gorgeous. But on a structural level, there are things about this that play to my sensibilities. I like movies that don't really care so much about the plot, where they'll get distracted and take detours. So I like the idea of, okay, now we're just going to hang out with Martin Short for a while, and you're going to forget why you're even supposed to be around Martin Short. I found that whole situation to be somewhat annoying in this movie, but on a structural level, it's like, okay, now we have to deal with this whole Golden Fang. Now we got to know who, what's his name, Owen Wilson is, why he's around, what his wife's backstory is. We got to find out all this. Okay, but now we also have to find out about Benicio del Toro and then how he will refer someone to this. And so the plot is kind of a springboard for a lot of these little wacky adventures that happen. And I kind of like that from a structural level. I just think the atmosphere and the disorienting approach is sort of what throws me off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like I really enjoy movies like Wild at Heart, the Nicolas Cage Laura Dern movie, where they're just on the road and the plot is just they're running away from her mom while her mom is sending like the gang, like the mob, to go find her and kill Nicolas Cage, and it'll get wrapped up in, oh, look it, now let's meet what's his face, Willem Dafoe. Now let's meet this person. Now let's kind of hang out and do this little side thing. Oh, look, there's a little wreckage off the side of the road. Let's stop for 5 minutes to explore this. Okay, now and I like that movie a lot because it just sort of throws caution to the wind and just sort of explores these different situations. Yeah, it's kind of like an Easy Rider sort of thing.
Yeah, Easy Rider is a much better movie dealing with that. Okay, Rasco, you were gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say that I kind of have like the reverse of Connor, where like my favorite thing about this movie is just generally the feeling I get when I watch it, the atmosphere, and just like this general level of just like chillness that I get when I watch this movie. I don't know.
I get that, Rasco. I get so chill though that I start wanting to sleep. That's the thing with me. Like,
yep, me too.
I get like, oh, I'm nice and cozy, man.
It happens to me, but here's where the movie gets really good. It's when you start to push through that and your brain starts to half function and you start to go like, wait, wait, did I just watch what I thought I did? Did I make up what I just thought I watched? Did he just like scream at the little picture of the baby that she handed him? Or what?
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what?
Like, I can't tell you how many times I've watched that scene and like I'm like almost dead asleep, because like that's one of those scenes where it's like a conversation where I feel like it's like trying to get you to feel like the conversation is about nothing important so much that I start to like seep into like subconscious. It's like I'm like, oh, I'm like falling out of my own mind, and then he screams at the picture and I'm like, did he just really do that? What? And it's just, I don't know, this movie does that to you. It's literally like a psychedelic experience.
Okay, well, you both bring up something that I do feel it's worth getting into now that we've been positive for a little bit. Let's talk about the plot, or lack thereof.
Okay, you can't say lack thereof. This movie's virtually all plot.
Yeah, fair enough. Lack of coherent plot. Here's the thing. I actually really do like mysteries. I like noir and stuff like that. You know, Archer for the last 2 seasons has been doing noir instead of spy stuff, and it's fantastic. There's, you know, you talked about it earlier, Connor, where the whole thing about this movie is it's the mystery and everything kind of connects together and becomes this, like, this roving beast because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those things where, like, everything connects together in the most ludicrous way I could possibly imagine for things connecting together in a movie. Like, You mentioned the stuff with what was Martin Short with the dentist office, right? Okay. So the Golden Fang is a syndicate of drug smuggling dentists that have a headquarters in a newly constructed building that is the shape of a golden fang, mind you, in the middle of LA, that just happens to correspond to an address that the main character and his girlfriend got from a phone call, a voicemail on a phone call, automated voice message on a phone call, whose number they got from a Ouija board once when they weren't even high. They just really wanted to score. What?
I don't know what the plot of the movie is. Like, I've watched this movie a bunch. And I don't mean that in like a joking way, like the movie didn't do enough good job of telling me what the plot. Like, I literally, like, I've watched this movie a bunch. I can't tell you like what the plot is. Like, I actually don't know what the point of a lot of scenes are. I don't know like what we learned and like how that is like affecting what's gonna happen next, or like I never know what's gonna happen in the next scene. Like at the end of a scene, you know, oftentimes like a movie, a scene will end in a movie and you'll go like, okay, so the next scene, we're going to cut to this place. Like, for example, in like Civil War, when Tony's like, I think I know a guy. And then it cuts to fucking New York. And you could kind of predict that like, oh, it's about to go to Spider-Man when they're asking like, who can help us?
It's called seeding and editing.
Right. Yeah. Well, this movie, like, I can't ever tell you like what the point of the last scene was. And I never know where we're going in the next scene. I'll be completely honest. I honestly don't know what the plot of this movie is. I've watched it. I can't tell you what the plot of the freaking movie is, besides that he's investigating things.
And they all seem to connect together for some bizarre reason.
Yeah, like, besides the fact that he's investigating things, it's just like a bunch of like scenes to me, and I just really like the scenes.
Well, like, you know, that's the thing for me, is if you try to literally plot this all out, like, I want to get a whiteboard or something, or like an old pushpin corkboard, and just plot out everything that happens in this movie, because the sequence of events is just jaw-droppingly ridiculous. That the way everything happens, the order in which it happens, is absolutely insane. Like, somehow everyone in this major metropolitan city knows who the fuck this hippie private detective is.
Spatello. Dax Patello.
Yeah, like, why though? Like, there's that whole scene where he's doing oxygen with the Nazi lady, and like, she just knew to go there? How? How did she find out where this guy's office is?
Dax Patello.
What?
I mean,
She probably checked the phone book. But...
yeah, he probably has ads in the phone book. That's what I was about to say.
It's just so... It's so loosely connected. Everything about it is just so bizarre. Like, I don't comprehend sequences of events in this. I think the one that is the most bullshit and the most what the fuck is even happening is in regards to the fucking dentist office. Yeah. But it's a fine line, because there's just like entire sequences of this film where I'm like, why is he doing this? Like, okay, fine, it's a mystery. I don't need you to completely hold my hand every step of the way and explain to me everything your character's doing. Yeah, the audience should be able to piece it together just from what you're showing. But that, like, whole sequence where he goes to the rehab facility and then just, like, leaves. That's like, you don't even see him leave. It's just like the scene ends and he's gone, right? There's like so much, it's just, where did this scene go? What did it get us? This movie has more fake endings than the goddamn Lord of the Rings movies. Oh. This is exhausting.
Yeah, it is exhausting, and it is disorienting. I think that's what Paul Thomas Anderson is going for. I will say, I've never seen any of Paul Thomas Anderson's other films. I've never seen Boogie Nights. I've never seen The Master. I haven't really seen anything else he's done besides... I haven't seen Magnolia, which is probably his most well-known movie, I think. But I get the vision he's going for. The thing is, though, there's a layer of absurdism that permeates this movie. And I think it's trying to be absurdist, but I don't know. It's a very enigmatic movie that I don't know if it's like critic proof or like if it's a matter of taste. Where
no, it is not critic proof. It has deep fundamental flaws, and it tries, like so many fucking movies that I can't stand, it tries to play it's artistic card to get out of its fucking just incomprehensible bullshit. This is the shit I cannot stand. This is what makes people hate artistic film, is people making bad films and then using the argument, well, it's artistic craftsmanship. It's artistic attempts. It doesn't have to spoon-feed everything to you like that Hollywood drivel. You're just not smart enough for this kind of film. This is exactly what that shit feels like. I feel like if I listen to someone try to defend this movie, they'll tell me I just don't get it. That it's not to my taste because I don't have the taste for artistic film.
I mean, I think that's projecting a little bit, but...
I don't think
I've
so.
never
That's
met anybody
the only kind...
who has that attitude. The thing is, if someone just doesn't like this, I get that. I don't really like this movie, but I don't think it's a bad movie. It's just out there.
I think it's a mess. I think it's a gasoline fire.
If it's trying to get you into the head of a super stoned out.
You know when like cops or the border patrol like bust a drug ring and then they just like burn piles of marijuana in public, just like a giant pile of weed in public. Like The Simpsons did an episode joking about that where the cops are just burning a pile of weed and so a bunch of hippies stand downwind from it and just start inhaling the fumes. Like, I feel like that group of hippies in that episode of The Simpsons are the people that like this movie. I feel like this movie is just burning a gigantic pile of weed, and then there are the people going, "Oh, this is great, man."
So now he's gone from just attacking the film. Now he's pivoting to the audience. He's attacking the fans now. You're taking no prisoners today. What the fuck?
I mean, if you like it, fine. Fuck, whatever. Go stand in front of a marijuana fire. I don't care. But don't try to tell me it's a good movie.
Yeah,
you cannot make an argument that this is a good movie. You just can't.
I don't know. You should Ian, here's what I want you to do. I want you to try to get Max Landis's attention on Twitter, because I think that he has said that this is either like his favorite movie of all time or the best movie of all time. I don't know which one it was. He said something like that. I know that he really likes this movie, or that he's given it like a perfect score. Try to get his attention on Twitter and try to get him to defend this movie to you.
No, I don't have time to waste on Max Landis, and I don't want to waste any more time in my life after this episode on this movie. Like, normally when people comment on episodes of Geeky Gentleman or my videos, I try to at least formulate some kind of thought to reply to with this. People watching, comment whatever the fuck you want, because I am not going to spend any time, like, reading them, or, like, I might read them out of just genuine thankfulness that you took the time to watch this far into a review, but like I'm not gonna have anything to say to you. Like, if you love this movie, if you think this is one of the greatest movies of all time, fucking good for you. God, I've got a list of movies you should watch instead. Just a veritable list. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't particularly care for Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I don't think it's like a great movie or anything. I think it's a much better movie than this that does a lot of the things that this movie wants to do. Wants to do well, let me say that. I just have nothing to keep me grounded to this film. Like, yeah, you're right, Rasco. They actively attempted to make a film that you didn't want to watch. And if that was the metric to review it on, this movie does a great job at succeeding at the goal it sets for itself. I don't know what else to like. Maybe the director is listening to this podcast and he's all like, yes, this man hates my movie. That's the exact response I wanted. Max Landis doesn't fucking understand my art. Like, I don't know what kind of reaction you expect when you make a movie that, as you said, dares you not to fucking watch it.
Well, okay, there's a thing, though. Like, I gotta disagree with her. I don't think it's telling you, like, begging you to not watch it. I just think it's an impenetrable movie where it's not going to, like exposit to you it actually does exposit to you. It gives you the breadcrumbs of, okay, here's the relationship between the two, and every once in a while you get a little narrator to kind of make sure that you're catching up on what's going on.
Who the fuck's the narrator?
It's that one like hippie chick that he hangs out with in the diner.
But she doesn't exist. She's not real.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, hold on. She doesn't exist. She narrates the entire movie.
Yeah.
We actively see that character interact with them, though.
But she doesn't exist.
She's a fucking hallucination.
Maybe she's like a interdimensional being not confined to our four-dimensional world.
Yeah, this is the fucking alien from the end of the fourth Indiana Jones movie.
I was gonna say it's a George Lucas created character.
Just like, I actually did get that, because there's that scene where she's driving with him early on in the movie, and then she just fucking disappears from the car, and I was like, okay, I guess she doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I think it's sort of like she's supposed to encapsulate what the spirit of the hippie movement was, and that when...
I think she was supposed to capture what his morning bowel movement felt like. Would you like to go toe-to-toe on evidence for that? We can do the same thing I fucking did with Eraserhead, where there's so much shit thrown at the wall you can interpret anything from it.
Oh my god, Ian gives no fucks, dude.
Like, I'm sorry, Connor, I know you're trying your best to, like, reach out here and give this movie some credit, but, like, just quit. Just, wait, hold on. Let me get close to the microphone for this one. All right. I'm right on top of the microphone.
Give in to your hatred, Connor Nielsen. Give in to your anger. It makes you strong.
I don't know. I spent too long being angry at stuff in life to get angry at a movie. So, the thing is...
I'm not even angry. At this point, this is how I'm having fun, is I'm just trashing this fucking movie. Like, you said that you've never watched any of this director's other work. I promise never to watch anything this director has ever made. Like, if I ever see a trailer, if I'm sitting in a fucking movie theater, and, like, the fucking, like, logos pop up, from the director of Inherent Vice comes... Nope, fucking don't care already. Already hate this movie.
Comes Eraserhead 2!
Oh my god, yes, please. Please make that happen.
Eraserhead!
Eraserhead! Twice the eraser, twice the head. Just cuts the fucking dude with that awful haircut sucking off a gigantic cock, but it's actually an eraser. And then Connor sits there, it's like, this is a metaphor for something, and I'm just sitting there like, this is a metaphor for someone that has entirely too much time on their hands, and someone that was dumb enough to give them money to buy LSD with, apparently.
Tell us how you really feel, Ian. What the...
I'm sorry, but when I dislike something this much, I don't know how else to react. I can't be fair to this movie. This movie doesn't care whether I like it. Why should I care whether or not I'm fair to it? All
right, now we're going to do a new section of the episode. Ian, what do you just, like, hate the most about this fucking movie? Like, what is your least favorite thing?
Okay, least favorite section of the movie. Alright. I got this. Okay, so, like, the scene where he gets out of the handcuffs is actually pretty fucking clever. Like, I really like that he's left alone in the room, and he was flailing around to make himself look all weak and completely helpless so that the guy feels safe to leave the room with them in there alone for a minute. And then so, like, he did that to maneuver to be able to get into position and pull the thing to pick the lock on the handcuffs with. Great scene. Here's the problem with the movie, though. That's not set up in the slightest. That is like Chekhov pulling a gun from his sleeve that was never introduced before and shooting the audience right in the face. That is like such a payoff to what could have been a really cool setup, but there's nothing to seed that. And there's just shit like that throughout this entire fucking movie. Like, we set up that the cop, Bigfoot, has an adversarial relationship with this criminal who's like the mastermind behind everything, and so he plans and puts Doc into this situation where he has to fight his way out of it. I don't believe that he would trust him enough to get out of that situation or handle it in the slightest. Like, there's nothing in this movie that makes me believe that Bigfoot has any level of confidence in Doc whatsoever. Their whole relationship is mind-boggling to me. So yeah, there's a lot to hate about this movie, but specifically the way in which it pays things off without ever actually setting them up. And the credit card lockpick is a really good example of that.
Damn.
Yeah. And Connor's just like, I don't want to talk about this movie anymore because everything I say, Ian just shits on. And I feel bad because I don't like to feel like I'm shutting people down, but I really, really hate this movie. This is a really bad movie.
Stand
this may
and fight,
be...
Connor. Fight defiantly against Ian.
But I just don't care enough about this movie to fight for it.
Yeah, that's the other problem. Like, I'm trying to think... This probably isn't the worst thing we've ever reviewed on Geeky Gentlemen, but it's certainly in the top 10. It is certainly in the top 10.
Well, actually, no. So what else would you say is on the top 10? Because I wonder how many things I've suggested to review would wind up on your top 10 worst things ever reviewed on Geeky Gentlemen.
Let me begin. All right. I will not say a movie or something that was not universally agreed was bad. All right, or at least not overwhelmingly was agreed was bad. So, like, I would put The Witch on there, but you guys love that fucking movie. Everyone else loves that fucking movie, so fine. Whatever. I'm the crazy one.
Yeah, maybe you're just weird there.
Yeah, sure. Throne of Atlantis is on there.
Is that the comic book series or the movie?
The movie.
Okay.
Hold on, let me pull up the Geeky Gentleman playlist, and I will look through this.
Awesome.
And I will let you know.
Yes.
All
yes.
Right, let's see
this is going to be
here.
the mini segment of this episode.
Oh, yeah, the top 10 worst episodes, or worst things we reviewed on Geeky Gentleman. Yeah. Ooh, Pocahontas, that one's up there. Green Lantern Endgame.
Oh, yeah?
The fan film review, that one's on there.
Did I pick that? You picked that, right?
No, I picked that one. Yeah. X-Men Uncanny X-Men Start Countdown's probably on there.
Don't forget the X-Men fan film tagline.
That was me, right?
Yep, that was you.
We got one.
Kong Skull Island, the place of your nightmares. King Kong audio drama's on there.
What's funny about that is that didn't you give me like the option? Didn't you pick that because I thought that sounded cool?
No, I don't believe so.
I don't know. I just remember you asked me about it, and I was like, you were going through a list, and you were like, what should I look up in terms of like audio dramas, see if there's one? And I was like, you should look up Kong, and you did, and you found that, and then you chose it on your own. But you wouldn't have found it if I hadn't recommended you look that up.
No, I don't think that's what happened.
That is what happened.
Oh. Okay, we can say that's what happened if you want to say that's what happened. That's okay, Connor. Rasco, sorry. My mind has been devoured by this fucking awful movie. What else? Oh, obviously, the Creepshow fan film. Rasco, you're in a lot of these. There's a problem here. Let's go to the beginning of Geeky Gentlemen and see what we can find. Oh, for those that
what about
care,
Spider-Man Home or Spider-Man Resurrection?
No, I mean you liked that. I thought it was pretty bad.
The comments agreed with me. I forgot. Yeah, you got defeated there.
Yeah, I was defeated there. So whatever. Oh shit! If I know. I don't know. Like I'd have to spend more time going through this, but it's like really hard. My Little Pony. We all kind of agreed that was pretty, not good.
Well, I have a question, Ian. This is a little off topic. Have you ever seen the movie There Will Be Blood?
Yes, I love There Will Be Blood.
Made by Paul Thomas Anderson, the director of Inherent Vice. Boom!
What the fuck? Are you serious?
I forgot!
Boom!
Holy shit, that's crazy!
I just watched a video talking about that movie, and I knew that. How did I not remember that?
Wow, that's nuts. I love There Will Be Blood. How did he lose all that talent?
Hilarious.
Probably because it's based on a book that's a very accurate adaptation of a novel that you probably wouldn't like.
No, I love There Will Be Blood. I knew it was based on the book.
No. I'm saying Inherent Vice is based off of a novel. Inherent
Oh yeah,
Vice.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man, that's shocking as hell. There Will Be Blood. To be fair, I don't love There Will Be Blood for the like plot or anything. I feel like the plot and the story is interesting. I love There Will Be Blood for Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, that is, for my money, one of the greatest performances ever. Can't we just review? Can we just stop reviewing this and review There Will Be Blood? Hemlock Grove, season 1 is definitely fucking on the top 10 worst things we've ever reviewed on Geeky Gentlemen. Fuck that series. I'm just going through here looking at you. Fuck Hemlock Grove. That is such an awful series. That is like one of the few things where I quit watching it, even though we were doing a review. I fucking quit watching that movie. It is terrible. What else? Man, I'm having fun just going down nostalgia lane and looking at all these old episodes of Geeky Gentlemen. The Peter Cushing Doctor Who movies are pretty bad. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. Huh. Oh well. Yeah, there's just a lot of movies that I don't think are good. Geeky Gentlemen Planet of the Apes 2001. That's on the top 10 list. Yeah, I'm just going through here now. Feel free to jump in with literally anything. Bram Stoker's Dracula, everyone kind of agreed was pretty bad. Just plugging away. Anyone feel like jumping in? Jerry Maguire?
I don't know. I don't really have anything to say about this movie. I can't, I don't have anything else to say about Inherent Vice, and I don't know.
Awesome. Excellent. So glad you picked something you knew you'd have a lot to say about.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was more interested in how you would react, and I'm satisfied with that. I got what I wanted out of this, and I'm good. This was a success.
Okay.
I achieved my goal for this episode, so.
All right, well, I'll say I'm not opposed to, like, long, slow movies, There Will Be Blood is a long, slow movie, and I really, really like it. We've reviewed things on Geeky Gentlemen that are slow burns, like Seven Samurai is a fantastic fucking movie. It is, like, 4 hours long. That is a ridiculously slow burn, and it takes a long time for really anything to happen. They're in that town trying to recruit drunk samurai for a good hour and a half. And there's like half a second of a fight in the entire sequence. It is a slow ass movie, but I like Seven Samurai. We reviewed Titanic, and I even had to say, Titanic is a pretty good movie. It's 3 hours long, but I enjoyed it for the most part. It's cliche as fuck, but I enjoyed it. Fucking this shit though, like, how is this a full hour shorter than, some of those epic movies, and it just feels longer? Like, The Dark Knight is another movie that's like 2.5 hours long or something like that. And just fundamentally, it does not feel as long as a watch as this. This is paced so slowly.
So slowly.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I watch a lot of slow stuff. This didn't feel particularly slow to me.
Maybe
it's because a lot of it is people sitting and talking, but they're talking in hushed tones rather fast, and so it's like, oh, okay, you gotta try to keep up with what they're saying. So,
yeah. I don't know, Connor. Like, what's a noir movie you really like?
Oh, I really like The Third Man, with Joseph Cotton and Orson Welles. I really like M, starring Peter Lorre. I mean, that's technically before the film noir movement started, but it's a heavy influence. Everyone likes Maltese Falcon. I like Maltese Falcon. And The Killing is my absolute favorite film noir, the Stanley Kubrick film. I love that movie. It's one of my top 10 favorite movies, if I had to make a list.
Okay. Rasco, what's a noir-style film you like?
I don't know. I've not seen enough to really say that, honestly. I don't even really feel like I have an answer to that.
All right. Normally we do discussion review, but I feel like breaking the mold a little bit because I want to talk about another noir style or neo-noir or just mystery kind of film. That, fuck it, I'll never get a chance to talk about this literally anywhere else. So, spoilers for next week, but we're going to talk about the movie Big Nothing, which, you know, I hope you'll enjoy, seeing that it's a good movie. And Connor, I want you there for that, if it's at all possible.
Okay, I think it might be.
Because I would like to get your read on what a good movie is like. Because
Bad Santa
I just
2,
don't...
good movie, Connor.
Well, no, I mean, I'll say Bad Santa 2 isn't a good movie. It's just like a passable, fun movie.
Would you say is Big Nothing starring David Schwimmer?
Yeah, okay. It's David Schwimmer.
Simon
what's
Pegg?
the name of the guy? Yeah, Simon Pegg.
Okay.
He's in it. You know, it's a movie that's like got definitely a noir feel, even though there's no detective. Well, there's detective in it, but he's not like a main character. There's a mystery to it. There's intrigue. It is a noir style thriller kind of thing. So we'll get into that next week. Let's go ahead and do ratings for this. I'll go first. I give this 1.5 out of 5. Channing Tatum's eating just an entire plate of weed.
You mean Josh Brolin?
Fuck, that's Josh Brolin.
I was like, what did Channing?
You know, they kind of look alike. They kind of look alike in this. It's weird. As soon as I said it, I was like, no, that can't be right. Fuck it, I'll stick with it. Yeah, I'll give it Josh Brolin's eating just a plate of weed. Ugh.
Go ahead, Roscoe.
I'm gonna give this movie. For me, I'll give this. I'm comfortable. I'm only comfortable rating this, despite the fact that I get a lot of enjoyment out of this movie. I'm only comfortable rating this 3 joints out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually in the same boat as you, Rasco, as far as score-wise. I'm gonna give this 3 giggling Joaquin Phoenixes out of 5.
Connor, what's a movie that you hate?
I detest the movie Black Hat starring Chris Hemsworth. The worst movie of this year is Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. I also hated the Emoji Movie. The Transformers movies by Michael Bay are the toilet end of the film industry as far as big blockbuster entertainment goes. I just binged all 5 of those with the new one coming out, and I wanted it to end as soon as possible. So those are movies I hate.
Is there anything like in this vein of like the whole art house picture thing that you think is just a waste?
Let's see. I just watched A Ghost Story, which is a movie directed by David Lowery starring Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara. And that is a movie that I don't think is a complete waste. I think there's some neat ideas, but it was thoroughly frustrating because halfway through the movie, they just, in gross detail, explained everything the movie was about. So then the next half of the movie, you couldn't read into anything because they just told you what you were supposed to read into. So that was a thoroughly frustrating. Oh, and you get, I'm not even exaggerating. This is an accurate description. A 7-minute unbroken sequence of Rooney Mara eating half of a pie. So that was one of those. Wow, this is a really long, frustrating scene, and I just wasn't emotionally invested in that movie at all because it's a mumblecore, and I guess mumblecore is just something I don't like. It's under the false pretense that this is the way life is. It is accurate to this, but no, it's not. People aren't that emotionally stunted in real life. People wear their emotions on their sleeve more than they think they do. So, yeah.
Okay. Like, you know, you just gave the most, like, the movie critic answer where, like, you were almost the critic from the old TV show where it's like, the only thing I like was these shitty foreign art house films. Everything else that's produced by Hollywood is garbage.
Oh, you know what? No, let me go to my Letterboxd account, all right? Let me tell you my favorite movies of the year so far, all right? You ready for this? My favorite movie of the year so far... Wait, hold on. Let me go to the list of movies that I've seen 60 movies so far this year. My favorite movie is Baby Driver. My second favorite movie is Logan, followed by War for the Planet of the Apes. My fourth favorite movie is
Really? War made it there?
What?
War made it there?
Yeah, War
Really?
War is the best of the new trilogy.
No.
Yes.
No.
Oh,
Yes,
Ian, you're
Go
full
home.
of shit, dude. Fuck you, Ian. You're
No,
so
Dawn.
wrong.
No, dude, Dawn is so much better
Dawn
than War.
has some of the worst human characters in any science fiction movie ever.
Okay, that's a
Fourth,
ridiculous statement.
I mean,
but
I'm obviously hyperbolizing.
that is
whatever.
that's a ridiculous statement, Connor. Like,
It
that's
is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. That's the point.
wrong.
Wrong. The thing is, anyways, 1 is Baby Driver, 2 is Logan, 3 is War for the Planet of the Apes, 4 is the Lego Batman movie, 5 is John Wick Chapter 2, 6 is Spider-Man Homecoming, 7 is It Comes at Night, which I guess is a art house movie that you wouldn't like, 8 is Dunkirk, 9 is Get Out, and 10 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. 11 is The Big Sick, which is a rom-com. I really liked the movie A Cure for Wellness, which all the highbrow critics hated. I liked A Cure for Wellness quite a lot. I really got a lot of kick out of Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. It has a beautiful opening 5 minutes and a really good second act. Like, I don't hate... I'm not above entertainment and stuff like that. You know, there's another like art house movie
like
that everybody lost their mind over, which was Free Fire. I thought it was juvenile and it was stupid. You know, but there's like stuff like Resident Evil, Smurfs, Transformers, Emoji Movie, Pirates 5, The Mummy.
No, don't get me wrong. I hate those things too. It's just like you gave the most like, you know, there's this like stereotype of a critic that only likes... They made a fucking cartoon show. You gave like the cartoon character response to the question. Like, what is a movie that you just think is awful? Like, you asked me what is the most hated movie I have, and it's Come and See. Like, I could write a fucking paper on why that movie is garbage. And, you know, this comes from the lefty commie bastard over here, where I'm just like, no, fuck Hitler, and also fuck United States imperialism. But at the same time, Come and See is a really bad movie. Like, I can you know, go to an art house movie or something. Like, you just gave the most cartoonish response to what is an awful movie. I'm like, wow, that's hilarious.
Well, I'm
You're
sorry,
just, like,
I can't choose.
You're so the
I don't get to
stereotypical
choose what I
critic.
hate. I hated The Shack. I hated... Like, I mean, the thing is, like...
What did Shaq ever do to you?
I'm not gonna like. I'm not gonna try to say, "Oh man, that Baby Driver so overrated." Because I mean, I can't. I enjoyed that. I don't get to choose what I hate and what I like.
No, that's fine. I just found it funny that when I asked you what movies you hated, you picked like the most stereotypical critic reply. That was just funny to me.
All right.
You're perfectly welcome to love whatever you love, hate whatever you hate. I just find it funny that you're like so in the stereotype. You know, we started out the conversation and I talked about the jobs that Steve has, and as a employee at Starbucks with a philosophy major, he fits a stereotype. You, sir, also fit a stereotype. So enjoy that.
Okay.
Ian's like doing like a freaking like psychological breakdown of Connor and his ego. Like, what the fuck?
No, I just
therapist.
find something mildly amusing about Connor's taste in movies, and I'm explaining that to him. Connor, am I hurting your feelings?
I don't have feelings to hurt.
Because I've killed them all.
No, I killed them long time ago.
Okay.
Long time.
Okay. Yeah. So next week we'll be talking about Big Nothing. That should be a fun one. That's a film I really enjoy. Or should I pick something else? Part of me wants to talk about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, but that's a really overexposed movie. Now we'll stick with Big Nothing.
Okay.
The only reason is, like, Big Nothing, again, doesn't really have detective, so I'm kind of iffy on doing that, because it's not as purely a noir, but it's got a lot of the elements. So
Well, I
I'm gonna
mean,
stick with
it's in color, so by definition, it's not a noir, but, I mean...
You know what I mean. The term has evolved. God damn it.
What a prick thing to say, Connor. That makes you a prick.
In the words of the guy from Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I am the a-hole.
Yeah.
The biggest plot device in all of science.
Oh my God, Connor! Stop complaining about Dawn of the Planet of the fucking Apes, dude. If I hear you bitch about Dawn of the Planet of the Apes again, I'm gonna.
Because it triggers you. It triggers you. Bam! There we go.
Yeah.
You fucking beta male cuck, you're triggered. Dude, like, I don't understand YouTube anymore. Like, it gives me recommended videos with, like, you know, news reporters talking about all the awful things the Trump White House is doing. And then it'll also give me recommended videos, like, from fucking guys talking about how feminism and SJWs are ruining the world. And I just don't think YouTube knows me at all. Like, I don't know how it goes from, like, Jake Tapper calls Trump completely incompetent to SJWs are ruining Marvel with their fucking hashtag make mine a milkshake. And I'm just like, what do you think I like? Because clearly the same person does not like both of these things. Clearly. It would be impossible for the same person to like both of these videos. But no, I ended up clicking on one just out of morbid curiosity, wondering if it was like a satirical title or anything. And literally the guy opened up the video talking about these fucking beta male cucks are ruining Marvel Comics by supporting these feminazi writers. And I was like, oh my God, he's a cartoon character. He's a fucking cartoon character. Oh. In any case, I think that'll do it for this week's episode of Geeky Gentlemen, everyone. Thanks very much for watching. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
I'm the beta male cuck.
And I'm the Santa.
And we are your Geeky Gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.